When you ask someone what they think about Crashday, they will probably have a positive response. Crazy and chaotic gameplay, tons of destruction, and lots of fun. On top of that, there are 7 amazing game modes and a crazy multiplayer. Don't forget about the short but well-made single-player career mode, track editor and minigames. And when you ask someone about Crashday Redline Edition, they are still going to have a positive response, but they are also going to point out a lot of flaws. Why is that? Today we are going to answer the question: is Crashday better than Crashday Redline Edition? Hi everyone, as always Patrick here. If you're already subscribed, make sure you turn on notifications, otherwise YouTube won't tell you if I posted anything. If you are new to the channel, make sure you watch until the very end and consider subscribing if you like it. Okay, Crashday. To answer the question, we have to look at the history of the game. The development has started all the way back in 2001, 5 years before the game was officially released. It always wanted to be like Flatout. The funny thing is, the development started 3 years before Flatout came out. Because the game was stuck in the development hell for 5 years, a lot of stuff was cut out. A lot of those things were meant to make the game more chaotic. I'm not going to say more about this, you can find a lot of YouTube videos talking about the cut content already. When the game finally came out in 2006, it was amazing. Amazing graphics, vehicular combat, and I'm going to repeat myself here, tons of fun. Despite the fact that Flatout 2 came out the same year, a lot of people said that Crashday is better than Flatout 2. Even if some people didn't like the multiplayer and the career mode, there was still a lot of fun to be had with bots and the track editor. Because of that, the game is very easy to mod and you can still find new mods every day. The developers knew this and they always wanted to support the modders by making SDKs and other tools to support them. But there was a problem. Back in 2006, the internet wasn't as widespread as it is today. Because of this, the support was very limited. The developers were prepared, and 11 years later, Crashday Redline Edition came out on Steam in 2017. While it was positively received, a lot of people thought they made the game just for modders and no one else. Personally, I find this very stupid and I am going to explain why. The developers clearly saw a lot of mods and wanted to implement them in Redline Edition. The Redline Edition contains health and armor pickups. Some of the community created maps were now official maps. Over 100 glitches were fixed. There is now Steam Workshop support, updates, full mod support, and many more. Even the crazy and the chaotic multiplayer is now back online. It is obvious that the developers had good intentions and they wanted to make Crashday more extreme and better than it was before. So what's the problem? I think the problem is that a lot of people wanted the same. Because there are some slight changes in the Redline Edition, I think that's why people are a bit angry. For example, the career mode is now way harder to complete than it was in the original. The worst offenders are 2 final stages. And I agree partially. A lot of people that played Crashday back in 2006 played it every day for 11 years. The 11 years thing is the gap between Crashday and Crashday Redline Edition. Because of that, I think increasing the difficulty was a good thing, but the last 2 levels are way too hard. Think of it this way. Imagine there's a person that has never heard about Crashday. That person recently found out that Crashday Redline Edition is available on Steam. Because of that, they are going to buy it. There's a huge chance that person will try the career mode first, and when he gets to the final 2 stages, that person will just complain that those stages are way too hard. Since most stages in the Redline editions are pretty easy, when you get to those final 2 levels, there's a sudden difficulty spike. And it's not just some normal difficulty spike. We are talking about the difficulty spike that can ruin your entire game. Because of that, the player doesn't have any more motivation to continue and simply quits. Even if that person manages to complete those stages, this person is still going to complain about it. However, this is the only complaint that I can agree on, and only partially. When it comes to those other complaints, I think people are out of their minds. A lot of those new features that I've mentioned earlier are actually improvements to Crashday. For example, the health and armor pickups are very vital to your survival, but if you don't like them, you can also turn them off in the options. The menus are also improved. Now there are more customizable options when you're setting a match against bots. The same thing goes for the multiplayer. I would argue that the multiplayer is the best part of the Redline edition, and that's coming from a person that usually doesn't like multiplayer games. The servers and their connection are for the most part stable. Sadly, I can't really explain why the multiplayer in the Redline edition is so great, but it is great, believe me. It's just a shame that not many people are playing it. When it comes to other features that I've talked about before, yeah, I don't think I have to explain why they are important. The developers clearly have put a lot of heart and soul into making this game. Oh, sorry, I meant to say their heart and soul. Basically, the fans wanted more Crashday and the developers gave them, well, more Crashday. That's why I think those complaints are just bizarre. As you would expect, even the graphics are vastly improved. The original release didn't even have anisotropic filtering, no anti-aliasing, and no VSync. There is a possibility to force those options through GPU settings, but most people don't even know how to do it. As a matter of fact, websites like PC Gaming Wiki don't even have tutorials on how to do it. Oh, sorry, Wiki, not Wiki. The Redline edition fixes all of those problems, including a properly fixed widescreen resolution. Now, you could argue that the original release of Crashday did support widescreen resolution, but it was kinda glitchy. If you wanted to play in 1080p, you had to use the 16:10 aspect ratio to get the proper 1080p setting. If you chose 16:9 aspect ratio instead, the image was stretched. And like I've said before, the Redline edition fixed all of those issues. Also, can we talk about the soundtrack real quick? It is amazing. It's very rocky. And the Redline edition improved its quality. Now, you will love the soundtrack even more. Okay, now we can finally answer the question. Is Crashday better than Crashday Redline Edition? I think it is subjective. It depends on what you're looking for in a game. If you want a better single player experience, play the original Crashday. If you're looking for a better multiplayer experience, play the Redline Edition. Now yes, I know both of those games have flaws, but this doesn't change the fact that both of these are amazing games. I also think those complaints about the Redline Edition are simply unjustified. Even if you don't like those new features, you can simply ignore them and have fun. People wanted a new and improved Crashday, and that's what they got. I just hope that people will forget about those complaints and have fun. Now I have to talk about the most important thing. I am looking for people to play Crashday Redline Edition multiplayer with me. So if you want to play it with me, leave a comment down below or contact me on my other social medias. Links are in the description down below. Well, this is the end of this analysis video. Hope you enjoyed it. Like I've said before, I'm looking for people to play this game with, more specifically the Redline Edition multiplayer, because, well, I just want to play it. I just want to play the multiplayer. I think it's fun. And when it comes to other things, well, more analysis coming soon. Thank you so much for watching, and well, I'll see you next time, pros. Goodbye.